Well, folks, if you're like me and you're in the market for a new car, you read all the articles, you look at all the YouTube videos, you look at EV database, for example. I'm not one lightly spending my money. The last new car I bought was in 1995. It happened to be a Mazda MX-5. So this is a big deal for us, buying a new car. I've been a serial used car buyer to various degrees, just because I didn't really see much value in it. Tell you what, boy, have new cars got expensive. Anyway, so in this very quick video, I'm going to talk you through all the rivals to the Fisker Ocean 1 and why I discounted them. And why eventually we decided on the Fisker Ocean in whatever guise it's going to be, whether it be sport, ultra, extreme. We were just lucky enough to get one of the limited Ocean 1 slots, which is essentially just an extreme with fewer paint color options. And a few tricks, and probably slightly cheaper because options like a non-white colour and alloys weren't added to the cost. I've got my handy book here, and I'm just going to run through the various EVs that we kind of looked at that would possibly have suited our needs. We want to replace a Mazda 6 Touring, which is an estate car, and we wanted a bit of room, a bit of range. It's primarily my wife that's going to drive the car to and from work. I'll use it as well, but at the end of the day, it has to be practical, it has to be fun, it has to be good looking, more to the point. So when I got onto the EV database, initially I had put an order in for a Skoda Enyaq. If you're in the US, you won't have heard of the Skoda brand. It's kind of the let's say the working man's, no-nonsense kind of brand within the Volkswagen group. The Enyaq Coupe, the i80 or the VRS is actually what I'd ordered. By the time I spec'd it all up with the tow bar, etc., it was coming up at £60,000. So I went on to EV database, and unbeknown to me, the Fisker Ocean was there, and that's the first time I'd ever saw the car, and I was surprised by how pretty it actually looked. It had a surfboard sticking in the back, it had doggy windows and things like that. But these are the cars that we rejected, and these are the reasons why. Now remember, the Ocean 1 is coming in at about £62,000. In our specification with colours and a tow bar and a few bits and pieces, it has just been confirmed at 440 miles WLTP. So keep those figures in mind, about 62k and 440 miles. The Audi Q8 Etron, £80,000, so it's 20 grand more expensive, and it is 373 miles. The BMW iX, I don't care what it costs, but it costs 100 grand. It's just ugly. So that's the reason that was discounted, even though the iX is the closest competitor to the Fisker Ocean. Polestar 3 long-range dual motor was £80,000, so you know what, it's nearly 20 grand more. I'm not made of money. I work hard, I get paid well, but at the end of the day, I need to see some value in it. I'm struggling to see value in 50 grand, let alone 60, 70, 80 or 100. So there you go. Model X, 108,000. EX90, the Volvo, 96 grand. The Mach E, okay, so now we're getting into serious territory. The Mach E drives well, it performs well. It has a range here of 373 miles WLTP, and it's £60,000, a serious contender. However, I'll talk about a little thing later on called a Powerbank, and that kind of eventually discounted the Ford. The Enyaq Coupe was a great car. However, the MEB platform has got its own issues. They're well known at this stage. I think they are in the process of getting it resolved, but there are a lot of cars out there. Owners are very upset. When I'd ordered the Enyaq, I went on to the Facebook owners groups. Now, I know in any group you'll hear the bad stuff more than you'll hear the good stuff, but I had to draw a conclusion based on that perhaps it was a 60 grand Skoda on the MEB platform, and it wasn't just going to perform our needs as well as the Fisker Ocean, certainly as far as range anxiety is concerned. This is our first EV, primarily going to be driven by my wife, and she has on no uncertain terms told me the fact that she ain't plugging in anywhere except for home. But we'll see how that one goes. The other one was the Model Y long range. It kind of starts at 52. By the time you add a colour and some spec and an interior into it, equivalent to the Ocean, you're up around an equivalent sort of price, 59, 60,000 pounds. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a Tesla basher. Elon was a real disruptor back in the day. However, right now, I feel that he is kind of looking at ways to cut expenditure and cost in these. I'm getting the feeling more that if people who don't really know about EVs are going and buying Teslas, and I've never really been one for following the herd, not in my career, not in my choice of vehicles. My daily driver is an Alfa Giulia Quadrifoglio, by the way. I've no intention of selling that car, and I swapped that in between that and an old diesel Range Rover because I race cars as a pastime, and the Range Rover is a fantastic tow car. I'm hoping to do a bit of towing with the Ocean One as well. It's a towing capacity of about 1,800 kilos, and I reckon I could just get under that weight with the car and trailer. Finally, we have the newly announced Kia EV9. It's going to come in about £60,000, a WLTP estimate of 336 miles. That is still over 100 miles shy of the Ocean One. So now that we've got the price and the range out of the way, and the ones that were beaten with the ugly stick at birth, so we've kind of narrowed it down. It was the Mach E, it was the Model Y long range, it was the Enyaq Coupe, and of course the Fisker Ocean were the kind of the lead contenders in this. Now, Henrik Fisker is a renowned designer. He's been around the automotive industry for a long, long time. He designs the BMW Z8 or the Z8. You can see the taillights reflected in that. He was chief designer at Aston Martin for the introduction of the Aston Martin Vantage and the DB9. You can see elements of the rear of the Fisker are kind of Aston-esque. It's a pretty thing from any angle. There's the looks out of the way. Now we look a bit deeper into the kind of the options, and the big one that stood out for me potentially moving forward. My wife hates that phrase. It's used at work quite a bit. Moving forward, we see the Powerbank facility in the Ocean One being a game changer. It's also got a solar roof. In the Extreme and Ocean One trims, you've got a solar roof. Now, it's going to give you 4 or 5 miles top up per day on a nice sunny day, or they reckon about up to 1,500 miles per year, or in perfect conditions about 2,000 miles. So that's going to help with camping and stuff like that. So the power bank enables you to plug in 240 volts, your coffee maker, your microwave, whatever you want to use when you're camping. Furthermore to that, it has the facility to charge vehicle to vehicle, so you can plug in and charge your friend's EV when they're abandoned by the side of the road. And it has vehicle to home. Now that is something that really interests me. So if we're not using a car, we can charge it up at night on the cheaper rates and then power the home when the rates are much higher. We have an air source heat pump, a bit like the heat pump in EVs. It's very efficient, about 3 times as efficient. So for every kilowatt of energy you put into the heat pump, you get about 3 kilowatts of heat out of it. And there is the 300+% efficiency of the unit. It's very clever. Now, if we can run the house to some sort of capacity, I'm not sure what we're going to be able to do now, but if it's going to rapid charge your car next door, if it's going to charge the house, or have the ability to use that energy stored in the battery in the house, hey, why not? That is the future, I think. Charging up at the cheaper rates and using the energy when the rates are high. That made the final decision. So it all boiled down to price, looks, WLTP range, and effectively the power bank facility of the battery. Everything else was kind of frilly bits, doggy windows, California mode. Look at my my little review up in here if you want to know more about that. I make these videos to help you out. I've already made the decision, and I'm sure if you're watching this, you're undecided as to what you might do as well. Okay, let's look at the negatives. Fisker is unknown in the EV industry. Fisker Automotive went bankrupt a long time ago now. Fisker Inc., in their current state, are completely solvent. They've got huge cash reserves of about 700 million. They raised $1 billion at the New York Stock Exchange in order to start this. Fisker Ocean is the first of 4 models. There's going to be a city car, 300-mile range pair. There will be the Ronin, which will be a very fancy 4-seat coupe convertible. And then there's going to be the Fisker Alaska, which is a pickup version, effectively, of the Ocean. So lots to come from this company. I'm going to take a gamble. They're giving some good warranties, and of course the company's got to exist for the warranties to be in place. But you know what? It's ticking all the right boxes for us. We like being different. We like forging our own paths. So looking forward to delivery somewhere in the region of September. So hit the old subscribe, and we'll take it from there. You'll see how we get on with our own Fisker Ocean. Until the next time, all the best now. Bye-bye.